Not all lands in all theme parks are created equal, and I definitely have my favorites. From Disney World to Disneyland to Universal Orlando, there are certain parts of the parks that are just go tos for me. And you might be surprised by some of the choices, especially since, as a huge Star Wars fan, Galaxy's Edge is never my choice in the park that it exists in. I spend a lot of time in these parks, and there are just certain lands that hit differently, whether it's the vibes, the food, the rides, or all of the above. I will spend hours in these lands. So today, I'm going to let you know my favorites at each park from Magic Kingdom to Volcano Bay. Let's start with Magic Kingdom. I'm starting it off with something that might be a little controversial. My favorite land in all of Magic Kingdom is Main Street, USA. It may not have the big rides, and I think that's exactly why people overlook it. But for me, it's about the vibes, the history, and just how beautiful it is. Main Street is your first impression of Disney. You walk in, you see the castle, you hear the music, and everything kind of slows down for a second. I love just going in and out of the shops, not even to buy anything sometimes, just to exist in that space. I love seeing the Dapper Dans, and I will stop and watch them every single time. And I love the popcorn. What do they put in the popcorn? Because it is not normal popcorn. It is amazing. And I know you can get the popcorn anywhere, but eating popcorn on Main Street looking at the castle is iconic. One of my favorite things is grabbing the snack, finding a place to sit, and taking it all in while waiting for Festival of Fantasy. I think a lot of people would pick Fantasyland or Adventureland because of the rides, and I get that. But if I had to spend a full day in one land, I want somewhere that feels good to just exist. And Main Street is one of those places where my brain actually gets a second to breathe, which is rare in a theme park. Epcot was honestly the hardest park for me to come up with my absolute favorite land because I love Epcot. I am very passionate about Epcot. I will spend time in the different aspects of the World Showcase for hours on its own. So being forced to pick one land was very difficult. But when I had to, there was one building that came to mind: the land. Once you finish your hike up to the land pavilion, because yes, that is the only flaw of the land pavilion, is the hike to get there, you are greeted with some of the most amazing air conditioning that exists in all of Disney. But you also get plenty of seating, which is so underrated when you're in the park all day. It's also surprisingly calm in here, like genuinely calm, which is also not easy to find around Disney. But on top of that, you have some of the most amazing and iconic attractions around the Disney World Resort. Soarin' is absolutely beautiful and unique. I personally favor Soarin' Around the World. Let me know in the comments what your favorite version is. We also have Awesome Planet, which is not a ride, but a show, and it is so underrated. No one talks about it, but having Ty Burrell pitch the world to me is pretty awesome, and it's very educational, and I love sitting through that show. The Land Pavilion also gives you one of my all-time favorite rides, Living with the Land. I could ride this ride over and over and over again. It is the most amazing slow moving boat ride through the greenhouses. These greenhouses actually produce products that are used in the festival booths and in some of the restaurants around Epcot. You get to see all of this being done. You get to learn about the process. You also get some really iconic hidden Mickeys on this ride if you are somebody who looks out for them. I have always loved spotting the hidden Mickeys on Living with the Land. But this ride is absolute perfection to me. Whether it's the everyday ride or at Christmas time when it's all lit up and beautiful and sparkling. Living with the Land is the thing that makes this pavilion so special for me and the top of my list. Like I said, a lot of what's grown here is used in the restaurants, one of them being Garden Grill. Now, Garden Grill is the rotating restaurant that overlooks Living with the Land. Garden Grill is one of the best restaurants in Disney, in my opinion. The food is so good that I've eaten here multiple times when I have a goal to eat at every restaurant in Epcot, but I always come back here. The characters are also great, and the whole rotating restaurant thing is a really cool experience. The Land Pavilion is one of those places that I go to when I'm overwhelmed in Epcot. If the crowds are getting to me or I just need a break, this is where I reset. And that's why it's my favorite. Because it's not just fun with great food and rides, it's a space that fully gives you a moment to breathe. While Epcot was super, super hard, Animal Kingdom was incredibly easy for me with Africa. From the minute you walk through the gates into Africa, this land just feels alive. I fully feel like I am transported to a different continent when I am here. The architecture, the design, the little features are something that brings it all together. I am a huge fan of Streetmosphere, and the music in Africa will get me every time. Kilimanjaro safaris alone makes this land incredible. An African safari has long been a dream of mine, but isn't really in my budget. Kilimanjaro safaris gives me a taste of what that experience would be like. You truly feel like you are on a real safari. No glass, no barriers, just you and the animals. You never know what you will see or experience as the animals roam free. The safari is also huge, and I don't think people realize that Animal Kingdom is actually the biggest park in Walt Disney World because of the safari. So much land is given to allow these animals to live here and graze and exist in their environment. Every time you go on the safari, it's different. Different animals, different moments. It never feels repetitive. You could ride it 5 times in one day and see different things each time. It's calming, but also exciting. For me, I always look forward to seeing the lions. I hope that one day I get to hear them roar. On this particular safari that you see on the screen, they were so close and I was hoping, but the roar did not happen. Another aspect of theme parks on top of rides that I find so important is live entertainment. And Festival of the Lion King is one of the best theme park shows that you are ever going to experience. I'm going to say something, and I know that this is a hot take and people will probably come at me in the comments, but I have seen Lion King on Broadway, and I think Festival of the Lion King is better. I think that this show is not only top quality theme park entertainment, but top quality entertainment on a whole. From absolutely incredible singers to amazing dancers, to stunning acrobatics, to the fire scene with Be Prepared. I love every second of this show. It's high energy, it's emotional, it is visually stunning, and it is just incredible. I have literally stopped in Africa for hours. I completely lose track of time here, riding the safari, watching Festival of the Lion King, and just existing in this environment. And to me, that's when you know a land is really good. When you're not even rushing to get out of it and go to the next ride. When you could spend an entire day in this one area repeating things over and over and over again. I could definitely ride the safari, go watch Lion King, ride the safari again, get some street corn, watch Lion King, and keep jumping back and forth because that is what Africa has to offer us. You just want to be there. You just want to be existing, vibing, eating your street corn, seeing some animals, and watching some absolutely amazing live entertainment. As we move into Hollywood studios, this is the one that is gonna get people because I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much. Ahsoka Tano, one of my absolute favorite characters ever created, not just in the Star Wars universe. Like, I just love her that much. I always go dressed to Hollywood studios in Star Wars outfits. See, I mean it. Every single Disney trip, I wear Star Wars to Hollywood studios and do Star Wars photo shoots. Love this picture. And as much as I love Galaxy's Edge, because I do love it, I promise you I do, Toy Story Land just hits different. One of the main reasons I love Toy Story Land is it's just fun. It's fun. Sometimes I don't want intense storytelling or thrilling rides. I want to just have fun. And this land fully leans into that. You really feel like you're shrunk down to Andy's backyard. Everything is oversized, everything is colorful, it's playful. All three of the rides in this land are fun and special. There is a reason that Slinky Dog Dash always has one of the longest waits, not just in this park, but in Disney World on a whole. And I'm sorry, Alien Swirling Saucer has no right to be as fun as it is. It is such a simple carnival style ride, but it's so fun with that addition of the aliens and the music. And then I personally love a game where I get to compete against everybody that I'm with. It is so fun to go on Toy Story Mania and just see how well you can do. One of my more recent trips, I actually got the high score in my vehicle. I was alone, and the people that were on the other side of my vehicle with me were like, oh my God, that's such a high score. And I loved that for me. And it was so fun because I never get a high score in the vehicle. I'm actually not really good at the games. So it was a very proud moment for me. And I love to ride this ride. I actually rode it 2 times back to back that trip. It was so fun. So great. Enough about the rides though. This land does not take itself too seriously. And that is part of the fun of it. And part of what I love about it is that it is completely different than anything else that we are experiencing in Hollywood studios. Add in how absolutely stunning this part of the park is at night, and it just becomes the best land for me. So, yes, I love Star Wars with all my heart, And I think Rise of the Resistance is one of the best rides that exists. But Millennium Falcon's Smuggler's Run makes me very motion sick. Star Tours is fun, but nothing mind blowing to me. And Galaxy's Edge is nice, it's immersive. I love seeing Mando and Grogu, but it's not the same as riding Slinky Dog, as competing on Toy Story Midway Mania, on riding Alien Swirling Saucer, seeing the Green Army men walk around banging on their drums, being in this environment that just makes you feel like a kid. And I love that. That is why Toy Story Land will always beat out Galaxy's Edge for this Star Wars fan. Now we're going to hop on over to the West Coast and talk about Disneyland. Now, Disneyland is a place that I haven't spent as much time in as I have with Disney World or Universal Orlando. I've actually only ever been to Disneyland once. I got to get back there. But Disneyland, I have to give it to Fantasyland. Fantasyland in Disneyland is storytelling at its best. There's something really special about being in the original park Walt Disney created. And Fantasyland just feels like the heart of that. It's nostalgic, it's detailed, and it feels like stepping into the original magic. And there's something about Disneyland's version specifically that just feels more intimate and more connected to that history. It's one of those places where you really feel the legacy of Disney. I prefer Disneyland's version over Disney World in large part because of the unique rides. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is one of the greatest rides ever. I never had the opportunity to ride this when it existed in Disney World. So it took until I was almost 40 years old and went to Disneyland for the first time for me to get on this ride. And let me tell you, it 1000% lived up to the expectations. I loved every single second of this ride. It is just pure fun. Like, I don't care that most people don't know the story of Mr. Toad anymore. This ride needs to always exist. I need to always be able to ride it. Disneyland also happens to have the superior version of some rides that exist in both World and Land. It's a Small World topping that list. The version of It's a Small World in Disneyland is the iconic Mary Blair. It is everything you think of with It's a Small World. I love that you get taken outside. I love that the animatronics inside include some characters from our favorite Disney animated features. I love almost everything about this version over the Disney World version. The reason I stress almost is Disneyland does not have a winking hippo. And I'm sorry, but that winking hippo that we have in Disney World is iconic. And she deserves every shout out that she gets because she is a moment of pure joy and happiness in my life. But while I've not been to Disneyland many times, one time to be exact, Disneyland's Fantasyland is exactly what you think of when you think of Disney World. And I unfortunately went right when parks opened back up after COVID, so I didn't get to experience the roaming characters. I would love to get back here one day and get to experience Disneyland and Fantasyland in particular in all its glory. After my one and only trip that I had to Disneyland, all I could talk about was California Adventure because of Radiator Springs. I'm going to start talking about Radiator Springs by saying I am not the biggest fan of Cars. I think Cars, the original one, is a good movie. Not great, but good. And I'm just kind of with the rest of the series. So, heading to California Adventure, I was not particularly hyped about going into this area. I honestly thought my favorite area was going to be Marvel's, but I was shocked when I walked into Radiator Springs. This is one of the most immersive lands that Disney has created, in my opinion. You genuinely feel like you've stepped into the movies. You can see everything that you see on the screen in person. There's so many little details, and Radiator Springs Racers truly feels like you are with Lightning McQueen out on the open road. And I love that. My sister jokingly called it Fancy Test Track, which, yes, it is Fancy Test Track, but that fancy element of it makes it so much better than Test Track. And we have to say thank you to Kristen in the comments because all this footage is from her and her recent trip. The absolute favorite part for me, though, of Radiator Springs is when night hits. When all the neon lights come on. It is one of the coolest transformations in the whole park. It's one of those lands where you just stop and look around and go, wow, Disney did that. When it comes to Universal Studios, this was one of the easiest decisions of what my favorite land is. And it is without a doubt Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley is one of those lands where you walk in and you just stop because it is that impressive. There are so many hidden details, interactive elements, and little things to explore. It truly feels like you have stepped into the world of Harry Potter. As someone who has always loved these stories, and yes, I am just talking about the stories and the land, not the author, I will never forget that moment of walking in all decked out in my Hufflepuff gear and seeing a fire-breathing dragon for the first time, and then getting to eat the most delicious ice cream that I have ever had. I will always stop in and get the butterbeer ice cream. It is that good. To getting to walk around and do some magic, to watching amazing live entertainment, because it has some of the best shows in all of Universal Theme Park, in my opinion, right here in Diagon Alley. All of my dreams of going to Hogwarts came true. When I'm here, I completely forget that I'm in Florida. I truly have been transported to London, to this amazing wizarding world. And a bonus with Diagon Alley, if you are lucky enough to be here during Halloween Horror Nights, you get to experience the Death Eaters, which is one of the coolest experiences I have ever had. I love coming in here during HHN and watching the Death Eaters. Everything about Diagon Alley is a Harry Potter fan's dream. And it is one of the most immersive, amazing lands I have ever been in any of the theme parks. I have read every Harry Potter book more times than I can count. I consider Jurassic Park my favorite movie of all time, and I've read Jurassic Park and The Lost World. I am obsessed with Marvel, not just the MCU, the Marvel comics as well. I read them all the time. But my favorite land in all of Islands of Adventure is Seuss Landing. This land is pure joy. It's colorful, whimsical, and it feels like stepping inside a Dr. Seuss book. And I love that it fully commits to the style. Everything is curved and playful and just a little bit off in the best way. Green eggs and ham is honestly some of the best quick service food that you are going to get in this park. Like, way better than you expect it to be for a gimmicky food. If you like rides, the Cat in the Hat ride is the perfect combination of creepy and classic. It's an old school dark ride, which I love. It is slightly chaotic and a little weird and absolutely perfect in every single way. Everything about this land just makes me smile. And that's how come, even as a huge Marvel fan, Harry Potter fan, and someone who considers Jurassic Park my favorite movie of all time, Seuss Landing is where I love to be. Because when I'm here, I'm just happy. And that's why I come to these theme parks. I hate water parks. I hate water parks so much. I got stuck on a water slide when I was a kid and hate going to water parks because of that. But I love Volcano Bay. I love Volcano Bay so, so much. It's kind of weird how much I love Volcano Bay. I have never done any of the water slides at Volcano Bay. So my favorite area here should be a pretty obvious one. It's Watori Beach. Watori Beach is the heart of the park. You've got the volcano, you've got the wave pool, you've got the atmosphere. It's just the place you want to be. It actually feels like a vacation. That's why I love Volcano Bay as someone who hates water parks. It doesn't look or feel like a water park. It looks and feels like an all inclusive resort. I could sit and look at the volcano for hours with a good drink and a good book. One of the most special experiences that I've ever gotten to have is getting to go during pass holder previews and opening day to Epic Universe. Now, in Epic Universe, my favorite land is Dark Universe, which, if you follow along with my journeys, if you know me at all, this is not surprising. Dark Universe is what I was the most excited for with Epic, and it lived up to the anticipation. I love new experiences. I love horror. I love dark aesthetics. I love immersion. Dark Universe gives you all that and so much more. The rides are unique and incredible. The animatronics on Monsters Unchained are stunning and intense. Shout out to my favorite one, the Phantom of the Opera. Beyond the rides, you get theming and vibes. You get absolutely amazing food. You get some of the best character interactions to ever exist. Check out my shorts to see what actually happened when I was talking to the Invisible Man. You also get a story, a dark story, a scary story, a sad story, a classic story. I love that Epic Universe fully commits to immersion in all of its lands. But I truly love that Epic Universe commits to the gothic horror that is the classic Universal monsters. These are characters that have meant so much throughout my life and are a big reason I have the passion for horror that I do. And things like Halloween Horror Nights wouldn't exist without these stories being there first. I have been able to go to Epic Universe twice, and Dark Universe is someplace that sticks with me. I will go back there time and time again. I rode Monsters Unchained 5 times, I think, 4 or 5 times across the 2 days that I was there because that ride is just so special. Everything about this land is special. And it is honestly one of my favorite lands across all of these parks. Not just Epic Universe, not just the Universal Studios properties, all of them. Dark Universe is special. There you have it. My favorite land in all the parks. I love theme parks. They are something that is so special to me. Disney World was a huge goal of my mom's to get us to when I was young, and she achieved it, and I never looked back. I will say though, my love for theme parks actually started with Hershey Park because that's the one I went to all the time when I was growing up. Let me know in the comments if I should take a trip over to Hershey Park and do some content on that for you. But I find theme parks in general just happiness. They make me feel good. They make me smile. I love the creativity. I love the design. I love the stories. I love the rides. I love the food. I love everything about a theme park. And while, yeah, not all lands are created equal and some are better than others, I love it all. And I will keep going to theme parks until I'm old and gray. I would love to go to new ones. I have a goal in life to see all the Disney castles. Hopefully, one day I will achieve that. I would also love to go back to Disneyland because I only went once and it was a very quick trip, and there was a lot that happened on that trip. And I would really love to just go and experience it the way it should be experienced. If you would like to see these journeys, if you would like to see any of the journeys I've already been on, please subscribe to the channel. It helps with pushing this out. It helps with me having the opportunity to maybe go to these places again or the places I've never been to. And if you liked this video, please go check out any of my videos on Disney World and Universal here on my channel. And I hope you guys find your magical balance. I'll see you soon.